Time now for our special segment Valley Direct, where we get you a VC voice straight from Silicon Valley in California. And today we have Venky Ganesan of Menlo Ventures joining us to talk about the impact of everything from Brexit to Rexit and lots more. Venky, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on ET Now Startup Central. Tell us, Brexit was the big international event over the weekend. How do you see that impact startup funding?
Well, I think you've got to separate out the impact between early stage venture capital and late stage. I think Brexit is a big geopolitical event, but its impact on early stage is very little. Because when you are a little company, your goal is just to get product market fit. However, late stage financings, the kind of big $50, $100 million financings, they're going to be affected because the global market is affected and we're going to have capital flows change.
Venky, is there an India-specific impact that you can outline as well as a result of Brexit? You know, we heard our Sachin Bansal talking about how that creates a lot of uncertainty. So is there an India-specific impact that startups should know about?
I think for the most part, India is actually very well protected. If anything, India is probably one of the more attractive places in the world right now to put money. I think the biggest issue for India is going to be whether Brexit results in other countries in Europe thinking about leaving the euro, which then causes geopolitical stability, and that geopolitical instability will result in capital flows impacting India. But for now, I think India is probably in one of the best shapes.
Venky, you know, the other big event was, of course, Softbank President Nikesh Arora's exit last week. It's certainly been the season of exits from Nikesh Arora to Lionel Messi. Now, he led much of Softbank's investments here in India, and it also led other Japanese investors, you know, to follow Softbank here in the subcontinent. How do you see his exit impacting sentiment as far as investors are concerned?
I think the Indian startup scene and the Indian internet scene is bigger than any one company or any one person. So I think the long-term opportunity in India remains intact, and I don't see a big impact on that. However, what SoftBank and Nikesh did was empowered Indian startups to grow big fast. And they were able to do that by bringing huge amounts of dollars into the ecosystem. I think that will be affected. And I think in the late stage financings, you're not going to see the huge amount of dollars coming in as you did before. And that is a bummer because I think the Indian startup scene was changed by SoftBank and Nikesh.
Venky, also take us through the overall impact that you've seen as far as funding is concerned. I mean, in the first quarter, we did see some pullback in investments, some caution. How has it really trended in the last 1 month in terms of the investments that startups have been attracting?
Venture funding is cyclical, and we are coming out of a 5-year bull run where the funding has been always strong. I think we are going into a downturn, and the downturn probably started in Q4, and my sense is it'll accelerate a little bit towards this year. That's okay. Booms and busts are a natural part of the capitalistic cycle, but I definitely think we are in a downturn for the next 6 months to a year.
Venky, getting back to big events, you know, the big event in the Valley over the last few weeks was the Code Conference, where we saw the likes of Sundar Pichai, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk talking. I wanted to understand what were your highlights, your takeaways from that conference.
So to me, I think there are a couple of things that are definitely coming through. One is this notion of machine learning and AI. I think we are very close to an inflection point where artificial intelligence and machine learning are going to have some huge impacts, huge positive impacts on society. I also think the other thing that's becoming clear is that the driverless car is a lot closer than people think. And of all the things that's going to impact society, transportation is on the top of the list. And the notion that we can have driverless cars is a game changer. We are obviously investors in Uber, so we have a perspective coming from that. And I would tell you that I think it's going to change transportation as we think about it.
Venky, we also see you reviewing this HBO sitcom Silicon Valley quite often. It's quite popular. Do you think the Indian ecosystem is ripe yet for a similar show? And does it have enough interesting characters going for it?
I think so. India is a very rich, interesting place. And if anything, India knows how to make great television and great cinema. I think that'd be a great version. I don't know if you have to call it Bangalore Valley or something else, but it'll be fantastic.
My goodness, how much fiction can mirror real life, Chandra and Venky. But Venky, actually I'm out of questions for you. But, just before you leave us, tell us any other trends that you want to throw light on from the Valley?
Well, this is a topic that's been covered a lot, but I think the exit of Raghuram Rajan is really disappointing. I think Rajan was one of the top RBI governors in India's history, and his presence and leadership really gave a lot of comfort to foreign investors. I think the way his exit has been handled by the BJP government is disappointing. Somehow I feel like this has been a self-goal. It's almost like we are doing a hit wicket to ourselves instead of celebrating people who come in and help us.
Ironic, isn't it, Venky, that, while Satya Nadella, Sundar Pichai are celebrated overseas, a global Indian like Raghuram Rajan, who, wanted to give back to his country, doesn't get the same treatment here.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I think we have a little too much of suspicion. I mean, instead of celebrating, Stanley Fischer, who was the governor, the head of the equivalent of the RBI in Israel, America recruited him back to be the vice chair of the Fed. What makes America great is its ability to absorb people from all over the world and make them American. We Indians, on the other hand, are not even willing to accept Indians who left India to go to America and bring and embrace them as Indians. I think that's a culture that we got to change. We got to take talent from all over the world and make sure they come to India to make India great again.
Venky, if the world needs to learn a few lessons from the Brexit, then India certainly needs to learn a few lessons on how to retain talent here with the Brexit. We hope that happens. But thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on 80 Now South Central. Venky Ganesan of Menlo Ventures, ladies and gentlemen.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.